Welcome to this week's episode of the Top Podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Rob, and joined with me are my friends Mike.
You know, I've had all day to think of something pithy to say, and this is all I got.
And Lou.
Hello.
Hi. You feeling good today, Lou?
Let's bring in the heat this week.
Feeling pretty good today.
That's great. So each week we'll start off with an icebreaker, and I know we usually tend to stay away from controversial subjects on this podcast, but there's this thing that's been popping up in the news, and I just gotta know: do DLCs and expansions deserve to be nominated for Game of the Year? Yes or no? I agree. No, they should not. The Shadow of the Erdtree was nominated for this year's Game of the Year, and I think a majority of people say no. What do you think, Lou? That it shouldn't be.
I think it depends on the it's hard. Game of the year. Okay, I'll say no.
Okay.
But
walk us through your logic there. What's your
there's some DLC. So I haven't played Elder Tree yet. But I've heard that it's its own game pretty much. That it's 20 hours or something like that. I haven't done the research. I'll get my intern on it.
It is I almost said his name. That was close. Gotta be careful with all that Valheim. Jake Bonadu's brother has played through it and has said it's practically like a whole game. Man, 20 hours sounds at least right. So
that seems like a whole game to me. So I would say yes. But if DLC of my least favorite game of all time, Sims, ever gets Game of the Year, I will storm the Capitol.
Oh.
So
Allegedly.
That's how I feel about that.
Watch out, Mike could get a drop from you storming the castle. The Capitol. So I think...
Goodbye, boys. Have fun storming the Capitol.
I think there's an argument to... There definitely should be. I don't know why there isn't a game... the expansion of the year or DLC of the year, but it's just...
Makes sense.
It's a lot easier to start... it's a lot easier to add on to a game than it is to start from scratch in the beginning, and I feel like it kind of takes away from the whole game of the year. And for the Erdtree, you have to play 70 hours to even get to it, so it's you have to play most of the base game to get to the DLC.
I played a lot of Dark Souls. It's not like I'm a complete novice to Souls games. The average person is going to play more than 70 hours to beat that game.
Mm-hmm.
I put in 100 hours so easy without beating it. And I've played well over 100 hours.
And you have to beat a boss that isn't part of finishing the whole thing. You can avoid the boss completely and still beat the game. So I don't know. I just said that. There's nothing connected to what I just said.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that.
All in all, I don't like the precedence it would set if it won, but hey, we're all pulling for Balatro, right?
That's right.
I don't think that's going to be it either, but that's a conversation for another day. This week's topic, as we're doing our Christmas theme, Lou's favorite time of year, our Christmas themed episodes. It is our top 5 Christmas gifts. I did put during the previous podcast, that it should be before about 8th grade, but I think Mike has one in 10th grade. I went that way also and went 10th grade. And I tried not to have all video games, but we'll kind of see what everyone has. So I'll start us off. My number 5. I don't know why this was such a big thing for me, but it was just this knockoff Lego Pirate Cove that my mom got at Aldi. I don't know why. It's one of those preset ones, a big plastic thing, and I think you could undo the bridges and all that. But even though it wasn't Lego, it had the perfect. It was basically complete copycat, and I just loved playing with that as a kid and just making my own stories and storming the beach and everything. And very simple, but I couldn't get enough of it as a kid.
I have a very similar pick later down the line. Definitely not enough to pull an objection card, but which we need to rename, by the way, because I think the whole idea with objection was we were going to argue that it wasn't placed high enough.
Yeah,
and then we totally immediately in the first episode went away from that. So we should really come up with something new.
Maybe we get a second drop.
Yeah.
Agree.
Although it is kind of
agreement.
But dude, I feel you. Those play sets as a kid were just awesome. They were the best, and you could spend hours just getting lost in whatever stories you came up with. So, strong agree.
Thanks.
I've never been a big Lego guy.
Oh, you're
never really been.
Oh, that explains a lot, though.
Never been a thing. Yeah, it does explain.
I do. Rude. I'm sorry.
I do. No, it's okay. No, my brain is not fully developed.
Detroit Public Schools.
Detroit Public School education.
Yeah. Well, and it's weird because like I hated whenever you have a box of Legos or Lego. If my mother-in-law hears me saying this, box of Lego, and then you like find one piece, you're like, oh, I found it, and then it's a Mega Bloks piece. You're like, get that crap out of here. You throw it in the trash, and then it just somehow appears back in the box. But for some reason, this one was like close enough where it didn't make a difference. So I think that's one reason why I loved it so much.
That is nice. That is nice, dude. Because yeah, Lego is how do you say, insanely expensive.
Mm.
Like as an adult, when I like looked back at Lego, I was like, oh, dude, maybe I'll get into this. This would be kind of like a fun adult hobby to do. Um, no, it might be, but I don't have that kind of cash. It's insane.
What's insane? This I don't think I talked about this at all, but every year I do. The past 2 years I've done like a Lord of the Rings extended edition movie marathon day, which I invite all the friends over. This year, someone bought the Barad-dûm tower of Lego, and it took them 11 hours, but they finished it before the movie was done. They built that whole
Dang.
tower.
Arnstein has the Rivendell set,
Mm-hmm.
and he showed me when I was up at camp this summer, and it's honestly it's gorgeous. I didn't know Lego could look that good, and he's got like LEDs running through some of the key points to really like make it pop.
Mm-hmm.
I asked him how much it cost. I just bluntly, I was like, all right, how much? And he legitimately was like kind of like blushing when he was like, it was this much. I was like, oh.
I will say Lego has kind of beaten inflation, though. If you look back, because I thought the same thing. Lego was super expensive, and like it wasn't that expensive back then. But if you look back in the day, it was like 10 cents a piece if you go per piece count, and now it's like 11 or 12 cents. The sets have gotten bigger, so in a sense we're paying more, but the same like price per piece is the same, or relatively.
Interesting.
Good for them. I also have heard that like Legos from like even the 80s will still click on to a Lego.
Mm-hmm. That was like the whole
Now.
patent. They wanted it to be.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
And if you like Cantwell, you can collect it like Pokemon cards. So shout out to Cantwell. Mike, what's your number 5?
So this is kind of a weird one. I tried to stick to gifts I could actually remember. And so my number 5 is one that I actually remember, and it's part of what made me the man I am today. It was a pair of Darth Maul boxers, and I didn't know. I was pretty young. I had no idea what boxer shorts were, and so I was like, I want to try them on, and people were like, all right. And so like I went into the bathroom and I just put them on, and like came out and I was like, what do you guys think? And everyone's like, no, that's underwear. And I was like, oh, why? Who? What? Oh, that's weird. Why? You'd want people to be able to see this. They're awesome. And so they just sat in my drawer because I was like, no one's going to see them. That's kind of lame. And then one day I started to realize, I was like, oh, other people wear boxers. And then I tried them on. I was like, hey, this is pretty nice. And so, yeah, Darth Maul boxer shorts. Life-changing event.
Hey, I also had a pair of sweet Star Wars boxers that I was sad no one could see. It's a real shame of underwear.
Yeah. But it was just, it's so weird to me that I remember that still. Like, I legitimately was like racking my brain to think of childhood Christmas presents, which is another weird thing that I can't even remember any of them.
I texted my mom, so I got a
I did
couple
too.
here.
I got one where she was like, I worked, I literally picked up a job and worked all Christmas season to get you this. And I was like, oh, I loved that. I just didn't realize it was a Christmas present. So that made the list.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was just like, you'd think they would have left more of an impact. Apparently, stuff isn't that important. Getting deep early this week.
Ooh. And especially, I think it's crazy that it was Star Wars boxers, because you're not a big Star Wars guy. Were you as a kid? Were you a little more tilted a little more?
Yeah, I
towards
liked
Star
it as a kid. All my complaints with it now are that I just don't like it anymore. But it was awesome as a kid. It was cool. Actually, this is not even the only Star Wars thing on this list.
Oh. Oh, shoot,
Wow.
that reminds me of one. I got one. Add to the honorable mention list. Lou, you have
To
any?
be fair, I think Star Wars is for kids, right?
I don't know that it was originally meant for kids, but I think it is
Kinda
wildly
turned
marketed for children now. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
Well, the nice thing about George Lucas Star Wars is like, yeah, it's made for kids, but he doesn't do like the Hollywood dumb it down, like you're talking down to a kid. It's like, no, there's like, dark and adult themes, but like kids can understand this even at a young age and like learn from it. So I think that's one reason that kind of also helped Star Wars get so big. Was it was for kids, but also dealt with more adultish topics.
That's fair.
That is fair.
Lou, did you have any fancy underwear as a kid that you wish you could have shown off?
I have a underwear story, but I didn't know if I should share it on the
Oh.
podcast or not.
Well, Becca votes yes. I'll tell you that much right now.
Oh,
You don't have
Free
to.
Lou.
You know what?
Okay, maybe this isn't the right context for that story. Sorry.
If we get 15 likes, we'll screen the underwear story and get it to you guys.
all right, sounds good.
Lou, what's your number 5?
You know I'm a degenerate.
My number 5 is chicken breast. All right, my number 5 is sorry. I'm looking at chicken breast right now. My number 5. Sorry, my number 5 is a Ben Wallace jersey. So I've always been I think I've even shared on the podcast before. I'm a huge fan of Ben Wallace. As a player on the Pistons back in the early 2000s. Yeah, it's kind of like half the reason why I grew my fro out. I love the fear of the fro. It's always been a thing for me. And so somebody in my family bought me a Ben Wallace jersey, and it wasn't like a normal jersey. On the back, it had his like full face, and it was like shiny, like a Pokemon Platinum.
Oh, cool.
Pokemon.
Nice.
You know what I'm talking?
Yeah.
The
What's the
holographic
graphic?
cards?
Like yes, like a holographic card. It was Ben Wallace's face on it, and I wore that puppy until I got too big for it.
I was literally going to be my first follow-up question was, did you prefer cornrows or fro, Wallace? But you kind of answered that.
The fro's
I think
iconic.
statistically, the cornrows were when he played the best, right? I think
Oh,
I heard
you
something
less
like
drag.
that.
You're more aerodynamic. You can move faster.
I don't think that had anything to do with it, but yeah, that's a funny joke.
Well, like,
but yeah,
I think he did both ways during like the championship runs. So I don't.
okay, yeah,
Yeah, those teams were so good. Like, I'm not a big basketball guy, but like that lineup was just
so much fun.
'cause you had Chauncey, and then you had Tayshaun Prince, and then both the Wallaces, and I cannot remember who the fifth guy was, but whew,
Rip Hamilton.
Remember-
Rip Hamilton.
Hamilton.
You could
Hamilton,
never got
that's
tired. I
right, with
swear
the
that
mask.
that guy did not
Yep.
produce lactic acid or something. It's just
Crazy. I went to a game. I wasn't gonna say this because I don't think it was connected, but I did go to a game where I wore that jersey, and in that game, you couldn't if even if I dreamt about this, I'm still gonna believe this is reality. But Ben Wallace came down the court, blocked the shot, and then went all the way to the other rim, dunked it, and that was just insane to me. It was.
And then he signed the basketball and he walked 30 rows up and handed it to me. No, that sounds like something he'd do. It's a monster play.
It is a monster play. Big
he was a
fan.
monster of a man. First undrafted NBA player to make the Hall of Fame.
He was undrafted?
Yep.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's
Great,
wild.
Great story. If you ever want to get down a YouTube rabbit hole.
My favorite play by Ben he was one of the first guys I ever saw do the like jump, catch the ball out of bounds, and then just like chuck it at somebody on the other team and have it bounce off them to get out of bounds. I thought that was just like innovative and game changing. I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure other people had done it before, but it's the first time I'd seen the play. And I
I'm
was
sure
like,
Rodman did
whoa.
that all the time. It's like a very Rodman thing to do when you dive into the fans and everything.
Yeah. I've seen videos like that.
All right. Number 4s?
Bring it on.
Number 4s.
My number 4 is the only video game I have. I don't remember what year it was. I'm going to guess I was between 6 and 9. So that would have been 2001 to, no, it was probably before 9. So like 2001, 2003, I'm going to guess. And my grandparents got me a Game Boy Advance. And man, I love that thing. And they bought me like one of those, I'm guessing looking back, it's from Costco, because it also came with like this huge pack that had, where to had like the carrying case and like all that different stuff and different accessories. I had the lamp that you could put on in the car, so you don't have to try to play by street light and everything. And man, I love the Game Boy Advance. I do prefer the SP more, but I had to buy that with my own money. So I loved the Game Boy Advance. That kind of like, there's the N64 and Game Boy Advance, what kicked off my whole video game fandom. So I really loved that and was excited about it. And I think at first my grandparents said it's supposed to only remain at their house. That did not last very long.
No, you don't
No.
get somebody a handheld. Yeah, no.
I think
You
my mom
smuggle
stuck
that
up for
thing,
me
like,
there, so thank you, Mom.
in Tijuana, baby. Sorry, I couldn't finish the joke.
What, you got a sex addiction? You got a problem with sex?
Oops,
That
wrong
has
one.
nothing to do
You
with
addicted to
sex. Oh,
sex
because of
addiction?
butt? Because you put it in your butt? I didn't think you put your Game Boy Advance in your butt. If
Hey,
that's
if
the
you get in
joke.
prison, you gotta have something to do. Put it in your prison wallet.
Put it in my prison wallet.
That was how I interpreted it. Apparently, that was I mean,
You know I'm a degenerate.
There you go.
That's better. That's better.
that's
Thank
what I
you.
was trying to click, and they're just next to each other, or one is above the other, but they're adjacent.
Best non-Pokemon Game Boy Advance game, go. Golden Sun.
Golden Sun.
Well, okay, I'm not gonna do any remakes of Super Nintendo games. What is it? Ninja 5-0. Pretty sick.
I don't know if I played
Pretty
that
sick
one.
game. It's a little niche. I was like a ring bearer in like my dad's cousin's wedding, and they got me that as a thank you, and I played the mess out of that game, and then I lost my Game Boy Advance SP, and turns out that game runs for a lot of money now, and I'm
Dang.
a little upset about it.
Dang.
You got
As a
one.
child, or currently how I feel right now.
Would-
I was upset because I lost the game. Now I'm upset because I can't sell it for the money.
I guess as a child, 'cause, we're talking about memories.
As a child, I would go for a little secret. I used to love Mario Tennis. I have
Nice.
no idea why, but that just really did it for me. It was Mario Tennis. As a kid, Advance Wars. I mean, as an adult, Advance Wars.
Advance Wars is fun. I haven't played. I know they remade it, but I haven't played it.
Yeah.
Okay, I recognize the color for Ninja 5-0. My goodness.
Oh, and the first Mario and Luigi game was on Game Boy Advance, if I recall correctly. That was pretty fun.
What's your number 4, Mike?
My number 4 is my second and final Star Wars item. I got Luke Skywalker able to sit on one of the speeders from episode 6 with a green lightsaber and like all black with the hat and the poncho thing. And I don't know why. I couldn't tell you for the life of me why this gift stands out to me. I got it in our house in Detroit, and I opened it on Christmas Eve. I was young, and I just remember thinking it was the coolest thing. And up until the day I stopped really playing with my action figures, that was consistently one of the go-to action figures that always won the fights, and sometimes even was the last man standing.
It's a solid one.
Yeah, it was good. And it was a good action figure back in the day when they just moved, like all the joints worked and stuff, and yeah,
They don't make them like they used to.
yeah, wasn't too bulky, wasn't too flimsy, had a lot of movement, and just big fan.
I'm pretty sure I got some Star Wars action figures, but I couldn't tell you which ones. Christmas.
Never been an action figure guy either. So.
What do you got? You got a problem with fun, Lou? What, were you outside as a
No.
kid? My goodness.
No.
Freaking jock
Fun.
over here.
Okay.
All right, Lou, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is a Razor scooter. I used to love going on a scooter.
Nice.
Deep down, I always wanted to skateboard, but I've always been a bigger kid, so I was like, this is probably not for me. And I stuck with the scooter. Yep,
Got the red wheels?
pretty fun. One time, I mean, me and my grandma used to. I was a blue guy myself. I think I had the all blue Razor scooter.
Oh.
Yep. My favorite 2 stories. So I used to scooter with my grandma for the most part. And one time, me and my grandma was like, "Let's go scootering, but let's drive out to some place first, and then scooter there." I was like, "That's kind of weird, but whatever." So we stop in the parking lot, and the parking lot is like a huge slope to it. And so I thought, "Grandma, let's play chicken." And I was like, "You can get the high side, and you can come down, and I'll take the low side." And I thought she was gonna lose. And so I don't know if it's because of the speed, but we ran right into each other. And I got up and I was like, why? And she was like, why didn't you? And I was like, oh, damn.
Touche.
I think my grandma's kind of a gangster. So yeah, and then the second one is my grandma thought it would be cool if we scootered like on a trail, like a dirt trail. And my grandma hit a rock and absolutely just bit it right in her face. But she popped right back up like a G.
Dang.
And yeah, it's my two favorite stories about scootering.
Was this before or after she had you climb that bridge at the construction site?
Dude, I forgot I shared that. I was aggressively young. I was like child endangerment young when I did that. Like somebody should have called CPS on my grandmother. I was maybe like 8
Dang.
when we played chicken.
Oh, that's
I
all
think
enough to climb a bridge.
a construction site. It wasn't a full bridge. It was.
They're still
It
And
was
now
being
you're
built.
a real man.
Mike was doing that when he was 6. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason I get in trouble for doing that kind of stuff is because I didn't get somebody to spot me.
Mike, what color razor
Oh,
did you have? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lou.
No.
I think I was gifted one, but it wasn't a Christmas present. It was just like my grandparents who lived out of state at the time. They came in town and got me a scooter. I want to say blue, but the next door neighbor, their grandkids had a Razor scooter that had shocks and one of the little like the wheelie bar, like you step on it and like it helps you pop a wheelie.
Mhm.
And I rode that thing so hard that I eventually blew out one of the shocks and had to like jam a piece of metal up into that to like at least just hold it all in place and hope they didn't notice. I love that thing. I Razor scooted like a fiend back in the day.
I didn't realize how small they were. Like as a kid, they seemed, like
Yeah, they're tiny.
big.
You can get full size scooters now for a couple $100, and dude, I'll tell you what, it's a good time hitting the skate park with a well put together scooter.
I forgot you had like a scooter phase almost.
I did. I had a pretty gnarly grind in a bowl. It was like I don't know the names of these, but I'm pretty sure it was a backside slide. And everything was good. I didn't know how to get out of it right, and I ended up like diving head first like 6 feet into a concrete bowl and blew out my shoulder pretty good. And I was like, all right, maybe I'm getting too old for this.
Didn't
But I've
bounce
since
back like you
slimmed
used
up
to.
and lost a decent amount of weight and gotten in shape, and I'm like, you know what? I'm getting the itch, man.
Go to
if
Westland
I-
one? Well, not now,
that's the
but
thing
back.
is I did go to that. That is the one that I bit it in, and like I was there enough that like there were teenagers who'd like be like, "Oh, this guy's back," and like I'd dab him up and we'd go ride and like, it's honestly it's a great environment. Like it always gets like a bad rap. Everyone just assumes like it's a bunch of thugs there, but like it is just the most chill, welcoming environment. Everyone's just happy to see, other people getting into it, and there is a skate park not too far from the new place, so when it warms up, I might consider it.
Nice. Our skate park here is known as where I guess some of the school bullies go. So,
Ooh.
a bunch of thugs.
Who told you? Who told you that?
So the perks about being in like basically a small town, a Michigan small town. It's not a North Dakota small town, but there's this like connections page where people just post the most random stuff. And I've seen so many times like you need to teach your kids to not bully other kids at the skate park and everything. So just random stuff gets posted on there, so you kind of hear what's going on around town.
You and Becca need to go, and you need to teach those kids what's what. You need to go and show
I'd
them.
embarrass
like, hey,
myself,
this
dude.
No, it's not about that. You got to go Ted Lasso it. You got to teach them some respect for themselves and for others. And
Is that a gun?
it's a beautiful thing. It's not a gun.
Well, Lou, what's your
You
number
could
4?
change those kids' lives. I'm just saying.
Sure. And maybe
Good.
get arrested. If I
What's
go
my number
lose-
4?
If I go lose strategy, yeah. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is a Razor scooter.
Oh yeah, my
I-
goodness. Hey man, it's been a long day.
Oh, that's cool. Do you want me to do
Sure,
the spiel
run
again?
it back.
So
Put it back. No. What
one
color
time
was
me and my
this?
Now, my grandma, I don't know if you guys know this,
Gangster.
my grandma was very skinny, and I was always a hefty boy. And so she felt that impact a lot more than I felt that impact.
Also, Lou lowered the shoulder and just trucked her on impact.
Or you learned just football moves, actually.
Get your weight up, Grandma!
You do the Allen
that's why-
Iverson
yeah,
step over
that's-
her and everything.
Yeah.
So my number 3, I think I talked about this on last year's Christmas pod, is a bike. So it's kind of in line with Lou's. I went to bed. There was no bike under the tree, and then I woke up and there was a bike in our living room, and I just thought it was the
That's
craziest
sick.
thing. And I think my mom just had it in the garage and like tucked it back somewhere, but my mind was absolutely blown that I got this nice red bike and everything. And I'd ride it around town when the got dark. Had to go home, but you know I was at least I could go through my whole subdivision. When I got older, could go down to 7-Eleven and back. You know, I did
Dude,
not burn the calories I got from a Slurpee on the bike ride, but you know, hey,
I
That's
feel
what we're
like
all-
I might have gotten a bike for Christmas at some point because I just like you said that, and I distinctly had this like memory emotion of being like, man, I can't use this thing for 3 months.
it's fair.
That's
Michigan,
fair.
not the best biking time in December, especially back then when we got snow. You know?
Right? I'm good with no snow. Bring on the global warming. Like, I'm living for it.
Wow. Okay. I guess I'm the only one here that appreciates the Earth. We got Lou, who's pro pollution. Mike's bringing on the global warming. The oil field
Just the
worker
global
is just like,
warming and
hey,
just during the winter. The rest of the time, let's keep it in check. But in the winter, crank up the thermostat.
I like snow.
Lou, did you have a bike as a kid, or was it more of the scooter?
I had a bike and a scooter. Yeah, me and my grandma we scootered more, but we also biked sometimes.
Oh yeah, and then you got in trouble by the cops for not wearing your helmet.
That was we were scootering.
I
Or were
thought
we
you were
biking?
biking. I don't know. Either way,
Yeah, we did.
No, not either way. It's more ridiculous if it was on a scooter.
that would be more ridiculous.
No, it definitely was on a bike. Because I do remember. Did I tell you the part of the story where somebody was checking on my grandma?
No.
Nope.
My grandma's always had a bigger butt, and just it's
Combine
just
that with a
facts.
skinny frame, you know. I mean,
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know I'm a degenerate.
you beat me to it.
I don't know. I didn't know other way to say it, but I mean, she kind of biked in front of me a lot of times, and it's just something that there's nothing I can do about it. It just is what it is. And me and my grandma were biking around the Kensington, and an older man just like, I've never seen somebody break their neck so hard.
Rubbernecking.
And I was like, yo, get their grandpa, dog. I'm like, Jamoli. That's it. That's the story.
Shout out
Then
to
I
Lou's
stopped
grandma.
and beat him up.
Ooh. You also truck him
Never
too, lowered the shoulder.
You're like, hey, you want to play chicken?
Mike, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is the Playmobil castle set. Do you guys remember Playmobil?
Is that with like the different knights and they had like a shield in one hand, the sword the other, and a plume on top?
Yes,
Yes,
all those things are factors. Playmobil was a little less customizable than Lego. It was a little bigger in scale, probably double the size. But they still had like the clip-in hands. Like the hands were basically the same as Lego hands, except you couldn't pull them out of the build guy, and like the pieces, they didn't really come apart. So like you got your character, and that was your character. But like the helmet would click onto its head, and you'd have like armor that would kind of clip around their neck and then drape down. And you had this. It was this like you could get all these little sets, and so I had a couple little sets. And my mom got a job. I think she was a cashier at like Toys R Us for the entire Christmas season, so she could save up and buy me this castle. And it still gets played with to this day by Joe. It stayed in the family for years, but I played with this thing to no end. I had a pretty decent collection of little Playmobil characters and little side sets. And at some point, I got from my grandma, I got like a bunch of like my uncle's old Playmobil stuff, and so that really built the collection. And so just lots of pirates versus knights and castles, and I had a dragon. The Playmobil dragon was pretty sweet. Eventually, I learned that there were these two weird nubs on its back, and that was so you could actually clip somebody on so they could ride the dragon. That changed everything. Whoever rode the dragon always won. But yeah, lots of fun castle battles and sieges, and just good times that have been able to trickle down through generations with that thing.
I actually don't know the Playmobil one. I looked up. I was thinking the Fisher Price 1994 Great Adventures Castle playset. That's what I was thinking of. Which I sent it in
Oh
the
yeah,
chat.
that
Yeah,
one was sick too. Yep, I know exactly the one you're talking about with the drawbridge and the
Yep,
little
the red drawbridge.
the secret entrance in the tower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that thing was. I had that too. I don't know if it was a Christmas present or not. That thing was awesome.
Yeah, I love those things. The Black Knights always won because they look cooler.
Yeah, they were pretty bad. I like those guys. My grandma had the computer game.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I don't remember much
Why'd your
about
grandma have? Why does she always
She
have
w-
video games?
Dude, she's
it.
a gamer.
Yes. So, she owned a daycare, and so
Okay.
one of
That's
the
what I thought.
features was they just had like a pile of old computer games that you could play.
I don't know if I ever saw these Playmobil ones.
Dude, they're sick. They're fun.
Lou, did you play with any of those type of things, or are you also still too cool for that? Guessing I
Too
know
cool.
the answer. Okay, yep.
Sorry. Only child for a very long time, and really nobody to
And?
play with.
And I don't see how that what that applies to, but you know,
Not really my thing.
Lou was already gaming at that point. What's your number 3, Lou?
My number 3 is an outfit. This is, I think, 9th grade, so don't sue me. This is the only one that I got as a teenager. But my first date I've ever been on was very close to Christmas time. And for one of my Christmas presents, my mom bought me, saying this now makes me sound a little nerdy, but my mom bought me a full outfit for my first date I've ever been on. And that sounds cheesy, but it was actually a very good outfit. It was a Diddy outfit, which now thinking back,
Ooh.
I really didn't put
Ooh.
any thought into this.
Mm.
I didn't put any thought into this before I wrote this down. Diddy, what was Diddy's
To be
his
clear, you
clothing
were
line?
wearing this while going on a date with a minor?
Oh no. Oh no.
Yep. So
making sure.
Diddy's clothing line. Diddy's clothing line. I was also a minor. Gosh.
Sorry, I forgot to
Diddy's-
mention that part.
Diddy's clothing line was called Sean John, and
Oh shit, that was his.
Watch your
yeah. Yeah, watch-
I think it's justifiable in this
You
fight.
know I'm a
Also,
Nope,
one
wrong
of his
one.
shirts.
Watch your profanity.
There we go. I found
Watch
it.
your profanity. And it was a full Sean John outfit, and it was super fly. And I might have, it might have helped me with my game on my first date ever. So that's it.
Where'd you go?
We went to the mall, and then
Classic.
we went to go see Twilight. And then I bought her a
Oh.
Twilight necklace, and then I
Oh.
bought her a second necklace.
And that didn't
After that,
it didn't
hold
didn't
on,
end up
sorry.
turn out the end.
Huh?
That didn't work out in the end. Seems like you were going
We
all
dated
out.
for we dated for 4 years.
Dang.
So
Oh dang.
most of high school.
Through the Twilight
I'm a
films.
loyal man. Yeah, through the Twilight films. Also read the books for her.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't play around. I'm a committed fella.
That's good.
So for some reason in high school, I ended up with a Kohl's gift card, and not even like a big Kohl's gift card. And so I was like, man, you know what? I don't have a black V-neck. I want a black V-neck. And I found this one that I thought was pretty cool, and my mom was like, Sean John, are you sure? And I was like, yeah.
You're not black,
why?"
honey.
Yeah, that was what she was
Sorry.
trying to say, but she didn't. She like wouldn't come out and say it. And then I got to high school the next day wearing that shirt, and everyone was like, "What's this white boy doing wearing Sean John?" I was like, "Oh, I see now, and I can't take it off."
I'm also the only one on this pod never to buy any stuff from Diddy.
Well, we didn't know he was greasing up.
No one did until a year ago. Well, not
So,
not the
I mean-
common people.
It's not like I bought a Harvey Weinstein outfit.
Yikes.
Good Lord.
Number twos?
Number 2s. My number two. This is the one that is not is after 8th grade, and
Oh, me too.
it wasn't technically it's a holiday gift, so it wasn't Christmas. It was a Thanksgiving Day gift, but I'm gonna count it because it's the holiday season, as we talked about. And my uncle took me to 2010 Lions versus Patriots Thanksgiving Day game.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Did we win?
That's
No,
Did y'all win?
no, we did. We did not win. I was just looking at the scores. Patriots, and to be fair, as a kid, I grew up in a lot of my family was Michigan fans, and then I just knew as a kid, you're like, I don't want to cheer for a team that's as bad as the Lions. So I'm like, oh, Tom Brady's from Michigan. I'll be a Patriots fan. So I was I consider myself more of a Tom Brady fan than a Patriots fan. But so I wanted to go to this game. My uncle Paul went there. Yeah, the Patriots won 45-24, so it was not even close. And it was during Tom Brady his long hair phase, which is kind of looking pictures, kind of nasty, Tom. But
Yeah, it wasn't his best look.
no, it was nice. The Lions had the throwback all silver helmets, and the Pats were wearing their red throwback jerseys. And one thing I remember there was a fight in this game. That's like one of the things that stands out about the game, besides just the Lions getting clowned on. But apparently Gronk broke some guy's neck.
Oh,
Gronk
jeez.
broke Bosch's neck in the game.
You'd have assumed it was Aaron Hernandez, but
No. Yeah, because I was
Oh my
watching,
God.
I was listening to his podcast, and
gosh.
it was his rookie year, it was Gronk's rookie year. He's like, yeah, my coach was like, oh, you got to watch out for Bosch. He's going to mess you up. And he's like, yeah, I broke that man's neck. He a little more colorfully than that, but yeah, I don't remember that whatsoever. Cause I'm sure like a stretcher, cart came out, but all I remember is this fight. So I'm guessing that's when it happened. But it was a great time. Believe we got some turkey legs because they sell turkey legs at Ford Field on Thanksgiving, and it's actually decently priced as stadium food has gone. So it was just a great time, and
you
I
didn't
love
opt
it.
to get the carrot instead.
I did not get the carrot. I'm not David Montgomery. If you see me, you know I'm not David Montgomery. Great time. This would have been basically Stafford's rookie year because he was drafted in 2009, but he was injured most of his rookie season. So I remember for a long time people would make fun of Stafford because he got injured his first couple of years, and then he played through so many injuries. But great time, Mom. Next time you see Uncle Paul, tell him I said thank you for doing that a long time ago. All those years ago. Mike, what's your number two?
So the Christmas of 10th grade, we sat down to do Christmas presents, and my dad goes, "You have to open Grandma Sherry's present first." The thing about Grandma Sherry presents is Grandma Sherry always got you clothes. And it was never cool clothes, right? Like you didn't get Sean John from Grandma Sherry. You got freaking like sweaters and khakis and like good quality stuff, like really nice clothes that you didn't want because you're a teenage boy and you don't want to be rolling up to school in a sweater vest and like and so I legitimately, with no grace whatsoever, tried to fight this command. And he was like, "Nope, you're opening this first." I was like, "Geez, fine." And it was clothes. And I didn't particularly like them. And I was extra bitter and really gave a resentful thank you. And the reason I had to do this was because everybody else in the family chipped in to get me a Stratocaster and a Line 6 amp. And they knew that if I opened that first, I'd be even less grateful about the sweater vest. And so once I begrudgingly opened the clothes, the next thing I got to open was a ridiculously nice electric guitar and amplifier combo that my mom's childhood best friend's husband had picked up off a friend who needed money and was just looking to recoup his investment on it. So he got they got the guitar and the amp for like $400,
Dang.
which was still like a good amount for like the family to chip in to get. But it was really cool. I played that guitar. I still own the guitar. The amp disappeared over the years, but yeah, great guitar and lots of memories playing music on that guitar. Mostly good.
Is that the only electric guitar you have?
It's the only electric guitar I own now. Yeah,
Okay.
it's the only one of any value I've ever owned.
I wonder if that was the one you did some shredding during church service one time.
Yes, that's the
Ooh.
one. That was funny. We would always do an intro song, and I was like, "Okay, what is it? What's the song?" And they're like, "just shred over it." And I was like, "All right, man, whatever you say." And so I was just like freestyle soloing over the song, and I completely lost track of where the beat was, and then it just like poof, and it ended, and I was just like.
It was like Back to the Future with Marty McFly, you know.
Oh, that one.
No, I believe.
Yes, same guitar.
Well,
That was for Paul's wedding.
no, it
They
wasn't
wanted
for
me to
that.
lip sync it.
I was making the joke that like you look up and everyone's just staring at you.
Oh, yes, yep. I was just like, oh, my bad. And the guy was like, Muggle Race, everybody. I was like, oh, jeez.
No, I think
Who has a story that's connected to Back to the Future? Very few amount of people can put a story connected to that.
Hey, I got a
Same.
poster right here.
Paul's wedding, he wanted me to, he literally had me dress up as Marty McFly and come lip sync and pretend to play guitar to The Power of Love on stage. That was like, he was like, this is what I want as my wedding present. I was like, this is so weird, but okay.
No, for some. I remember there was one summer 'cause that one always. A lot of times it was summer at the movies, but one time they did like summer for the music or whatever, and I believe they were covering Tears for Fears.
Everybody wants to rule the world.
Yeah, and I thought at the end there was you did a solo, or something. And for some reason that just
Doesn't
stuck
ring
in
a
my head.
bell, but it's possible. But I don't think so. I think the one time I was on for a special song when I was playing electric was so what it was I happened to have borrowed my grandma's banjo, and people knew I had this banjo, and so the guy who was leading worship that week, the special song was a Mumford and Sons song, and he was like, hey, do you want to play this week? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I got there, and they're like, oh, by the way, do you still got that banjo, right? And I was like, no, that wasn't mine, I was just borrowing it. And you could see the like, oh, that's the only reason we invited you to play this week. Like, go across everybody's face. And I was like, I'm playing anyway. You already invited me.
The best part is that like most people would shy away from it. You just leaned right into it.
I mean, I was a kid. I didn't ever at home. I was like, I'm playing on stage, baby. This is happening.
You could have learned the banjo, and you could have learned the 4 chords in 30 minutes.
Well, that was the thing too. Is I didn't even know how to play the banjo. I had just tuned the banjo to fit a guitar,
Ooh,
and that's what I was
not right.
playing. No, it isn't. But nobody could tell the difference. You probably could have, but you weren't there. So
That's true. All right, Lou. What's your number 2?
My number 2
Got this Razor scooter.
is an outfit. No, the Razor scooter. I'm saying a lot of ums today. My number 2 is a Dragon Ball Z spaceship
Ooh,
that I got from my uncle. Yep.
the orb
So it was
one?
just like, it's the only toy. I was thinking to myself, I think I got toys as a kid, but I didn't care about them at all. I had no imagination, and I let video games kind of be in my imagination for me. But I had a really cool uncle who I found out was a drug dealer growing up later in life. So this was probably a drug dealer money toy.
It's like you can have
What
an
was I
ounce if you give me that action figure, that spaceship.
And yeah, I was Dragon Ball Z before I had any taste was my favorite anime growing up. And
Hey now,
Yeah.
hey now, hey now.
just a bunch of screaming and fighting.
Hey now.
This is what dreams are made of.
It
That's
has
what you
its
did,
place.
Robert. That's what you did. It does. It does have its place. You want to see? I mean, the only thing I don't like is Goku sounds so cool dubbed, and then sounds so weird subbed. That really throws me off. But am I the only one?
I only
watched
watched
the
subbed, so
You never heard him? Oh, you've only ever heard him sub?
that's all that was on TV. I actually just bought Dragon Ball Z Kai, like the full thing, and Becca was like, for the first 2 episodes. Which, to be fair, the first 2 episodes aren't great, but I don't think
Did
she
you play
liked.
the game?
I played the mess out of the Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2 and 3. I played the mess
Budokai
out
2
of those games.
Me too. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of what they did to the games recently, but
I heard the new one is
Hey.
actually very good. Sparkling, whatever. I
Sparkling
played
Zero.
Xenoverse one. The first one was fun. The second one I didn't really play too much. But yeah, I enjoyed DBZ. Was it the orb, like the Saiyan orb, or was it like the spaceship that traveled in Namek in?
That was the capsule corp, the
Capsule
white
Corp?
one.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the one that I remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I like this so much. I think it's generally because of my uncle, because I really didn't get to see him a lot, and he's an uncle that wasn't really in my life, so didn't need to buy me anything. He just decided to buy me something, so
Mhm.
I was like, "This is cool."
Mike, were you not allowed to watch Dragon Ball Z? Was it too violent, or you just never
I
got into
don't.
it?
So we didn't have cable, so I rarely had access to it. And then it never really. I don't know. Like, I think by the time I could have potentially had access to it, I had just gotten into other things, and so it never really clicked.
That's fair.
If you don't like Red Rising, you won't like. I'm just playing.
I
Yeah,
wanted to like that book so bad, man.
Yeah,
the whole
that's
premise of
fair.
Dragon Ball Z is you just work out and scream at people until some energy comes out to release your energy into the world. Basically. Anyways, number ones.
Just like my bedroom.
As long as he's the only voice being heard.
Unless I'm
You
the
know
only
I'm a
voice.
degenerate.
You know I'm a degenerate.
All right, my number one. All right, so this is the one I texted my mom about because I came up with 4 pretty quickly, but I couldn't know. I'm like, oh gosh, I know there are some. I just couldn't remember exactly what they were. And I didn't know that this was actually a Christmas gift, but it was back in 2004. I got my childhood dog as a Christmas gift, and man,
Oh,
What?
yeah, I love that dog. Still miss him, and I mean, I just feel like there's not more I could say besides like if you had a childhood dog, you know what it's like. Had him as a puppy, and I remember I loved him so much. I think I made my mom bring him to school sometimes. So like, there's one time like my whole class just like got around and like pet my dog and everything. So I was very excited, and I loved Copper. So not much to say, but it's a very heartfelt experience.
Shout out to Cooper. What a good dog.
What's your number one, Mike?
so my number one, and you might think to yourself, "Boy, this should have been an objection," but is a
Was it
Shrek
Copper?
2. Yes, yes.
Whoa.
Is a Shrek 2 half green, half orange Game Boy Advance SP.
Difference, SP.
Different enough. I got it also from my grandmother. Probably my grandparents. But it's the last present I can remember getting from my grandma before the Alzheimer's really kicked in. Um, and I hung on to that thing for years. And like even after people gave me better Game Boys, like later models that had better backlights, I was just like, no, man, this is the one. And eventually I ended up loaning Ben and Arn a box full of Game Boy games and didn't realize it was in there. And I was just kind of like, you know what, man? I don't really play it enough to make it worth it. I'm not going to ask for it back. And so I just kind of let it get passed on to the next generation, as it were. But yeah, that was always the Game Boy to me. That was the one that really stuck. My grandma was the one who got me my first ever Game Boy Color. And then she got me that Game Boy Advance SP because I had lost the other Game Boy Advance SP. And yeah, it was just a really, really cool and thoughtful gift that stuck with me for a long time.
Did it come with the movie or was it a Shrek 2 game?
Honestly, I think it was just the hardware. I don't remember it coming with anything because I don't remember having any kind of Shrek games or the movie or anything like that.
That's a color
In
combination.
a good way. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not mind not having the game or the movie. Don't think I wanted the game or the movie. So
Well, if you
I just
want,
needed the
you can
hardware.
buy it on eBay for $178.
It's not terrible. I'm
Yeah,
all
it's
set.
It's not the same one.
I
It's not the same.
I busted out a Game Boy at some point a while back, and I was like, "Holy crap, my vision has gotten so much worse." And then I went, "No, handheld screens are just like seven
yeah.
times bigger than this now," and so it just feels so small. It's like, how did I ever read this?
I love the SP though. It was such a great. I mean, it's just Game Boy Advance, but it was better So
Oh my gosh, so much more
good.
ergonomical.
Yeah, just love having it in your pocket.
Right?
flip it out right next to you. It's like you have it right next to your razor. You flip both of them out. You know? For you kids, that's the razor phone, not the or not the scooter that we talked about earlier. And they were all the rage. Yeah, Lou, what's your number one?
My number one, to no surprise, I've already talked about this hundreds of thousands of times on the podcast. I try to fit it in conversations when I'm just around random people. But Donkey Konga for Donkey Konga for the it's not the Switch. I keep my brain
GameCube.
wants to say the Switch for the GameCube is I think what made me a man. I think
Thought
without
for sure it
the
was the Sean John that made you a man.
well, it was after the
Put 'em
Sean
both
John.
together.
Sorry.
Oh, was that second necklace?
It's the second necklace. I wasn't a cool guy. I didn't even get on the playing field my first date. Just want to put that out there. What was I saying? Oh, Donkey Konga. I mean, listen, hey. It was in my blood, you know. I did my ancestry.com. I'm from some of my family's from the Congo. It's just, it was a birthright. And I just shout out to the Japanese corporation to really just build something that was meant for me. And every time I see a Congo, I just think about that beautiful brown ape, and I try not to think of Seth Rogen's voice when I think about it.
Lou, all I'm saying is you can get the game and the bongos for $40 on eBay.
That's a deal. That's a deal. But do I want to bring that back? Do I want to
you
be?
don't wanna...
It's
you might
like
want to let that one live in your memories.
yeah. Like, do you go through puberty twice? No, right? Because that'd be weird. You only have to go through puberty once.
That is the reason that you only have to go through puberty once, is because it'd be weird to do it twice.
It'd be weird to do
right
it twice. Yep. Some things, some things you only gotta do
Maybe
once.
I'll buy it and we'll do a review on the channel. If you ever come out here, then you can play it.
I'm trying. But the whites are not letting me, Rob.
You gotta cut them down, man.
I gotta cut the whites down. No, I'm just, I'm never mind, I won't make that joke. But yeah, that's me. Donkey Konga, baby.
It's a solid one.
There's a picture of me losing my effing mind right next to my grandfather.
Do you have the picture?
I think it's on Facebook.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to look for it. We'll just make all of our Christmas thumbnails young Lou.
Just got long. I love it.
All right, you guys got any honorable mentions right quick?
Something I remembered as we were starting, I literally barely remember these, but there's pictures of me as a small child with somebody got me a bunch of toy guns, and one of them was like a mini gun, like the
Oh, that's
like
cool.
big giant orange capsule on the front, and like a police gear. I don't know if they came together or not.
That's wild.
And so there's like a picture of me as like a 3-year-old in like a cop
That's
costume,
wild.
toting a minigun.
It's so cool.
Yeah. There's another one of me being like, "Here, do you want to turn with the gun?"
So many jokes, man. Oh my gosh. So many inappropriate jokes. That's fun.
Yeah, believe me. As I was saying it, I was like, "Oh boy."
I had a BB gun.
Nice.
That was pretty cool. With a target. It wasn't like a real strong one, but it had like a target, and that was pretty fun. And then I had. Oh no, I lost it. Oh, and my favorite all time is Jack and Dexter 3. That's my favorite all time Christmas present.
Nice.
Then why is it an honorable mention and not number one?
Oh, it said no video games. No
Well, you
video
put a
games.
video game as your number one
Fair enough.
anyways.
No, that's a rhythm game. It's different.
That's a video. What? Guitar Hero's a
I'm
video
not.
game.
No, those are
Dance Dance
congos.
Revolution's a video game.
Those are congos. Bongos.
Guitar.
Bongo congos.
Rock Band's a
Man,
video
it's in the
game.
blood, all right? You can't argue with it.
And I was hitting those bongos without the game. I was out here just tapping those boys away.
Oh.
He's like, "What's Lucia doing in his room?"
Oh
Don't
no.
worry about it, Mom. Take it to the
You
bathroom.
a sex addiction? You got a problem with sex? You addicted to sex? A sex addiction or something?
So Mike brought this up, but I definitely got the build your own lightsaber, the 2005 thing, and I thought it was the
Nice.
coolest thing ever. And you can get like a second one and build a dual sided lightsaber. Man, that was the crap.
Ooh.
I also had an airsoft gun on there. My mom said I really liked it. Don't remember getting it, but we did have some. And apparently my car my mom joked was a Christmas present, but I bought that in like the summer, so I don't think that counts. Mike, what are we? Yes, it is your turn. Mike, what are we talking about next week? What theme you got for
Oh,
us?
baby, buckle up. Lucian, you're going to be super excited about this one.
no.
You ready?
Mm.
I want to
Favorite
know.
Sean outfit.
I want to know your top 5 overrated Christmas movies.
All of
Die Hard, just because people bring it up, just to be a contrarian.
Hey, man, you put that on the thumbnail, we'll get clicks. Just saying.
That's
Put
true.
it on the thumbnail, get clicks.
Do
Okay.
I don't know if there's 5 I dislike.
Oh my gosh, it's definitely Robert's favorite. Whatever, the old school racist one.
It's
That
one
one's
of
gonna be
5.
my number. Yeah, that's gonna be my number.
Not
one.
racist, but okay.
1950s. It was racism when it was happening, man.
I will say I don't know if there's a black person in it, so I guess you could argue that's racism.
No, I
That's
would.
discrimination.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, they
some
were.
people say that's racism.
So... Okay, I was completely joking. I pull back. Pull back.
Pull out.
Get your Will
But
Robinson.
Lou, I never pull out. Anyways,
You know I'm a degenerate.
there we go.
Degenerate.
All right. Last but not least, be sure if you're not in our Discord, join it. And we are running a Valheim server right now. So if you want to join us 3, then we also have Logan, the Lord of Trolls. We got Uber, the Herald of Hammers, and Jacob and Andrew's brothers, the Tyrant of Tin and Master of Bridges. Join us. It's a great time. We kind of just all hanging out on Discord. Hop on whenever you'd like, but all that's in our Discord, so go ahead and...
Also, Dan is there.
And Dan
Don't
is
forget
there. Don't know what his title is, but yeah, it's a great time. And shout out to Logan Uber, who found out this podcast because of Valheim. So it's a great time. We're having a good time meeting people.
It's been a blast.
Yeah.
Lots of good inside jokes. So get in now. Well, you still can.
It's true.
Otherwise, you'll just be confused.
That's fair. Well, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Top Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please give us a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what your favorite Christmas present is, and if Donkey Konga counts as a video game. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review. Also, be sure to check the comments down there. Other than that, we'll catch you next week, and I hope you guys have a good one. Peace.
On Earth.
And into heaven?
Oh
Right,
my
is
God,
that-
Lou!
I don't remember.
Goodwill towards
I'm a degenerate.
DPS. Detroit Public Schools.
Detroit Public Schools. I'm a degenerate.